Hello everyone, is the flashback over? Today I'll be reading One Piece chapter 1171. So, it's been a while, first of all, right? We had that Shonen Jump break last time, so that allowed me to read the chapter a little bit earlier than usual, but therefore the next chapter was going to be coming out a little later than usual, so that's why it's kind of been a while, but we're back. It has honestly felt like a while. This is one of those breaks where genuinely haven't. It's felt like I haven't read for a long time, right? Because I was back in 2025, right? Where this is the first. This is my first video of reacting to a chapter in 2026, but technically this will be the second chapter of 2026. So yeah, I'm very excited to jump in. Last chapter, right? We had seemingly the end of the flashback, right? We finally kind of resolved what happened 14 years ago for the most part. We saw Loki. Loki went inside the room with the devil fruit and the treasure chest, but then Ragnir was guarding it and attacking Loki. That was kind of the little scuffle they had was kind of fun. We had stuff with Gabon and Shanks fighting Harold, and some like cool lore stuff with Gabon regarding the Roger Pirates and how they constantly had to defend Shanks, baby Shanks, from being kidnapped by the Gods Knights. So that was really cool. That explains why Gabon is acquainted with Summers, in Elbaf that we saw. So that was really cool. We found out a little bit more about the weaknesses to the Gods Knights, which I guess is Conqueror's hockey. Well, Conqueror's coding to be specifically. So still some questions with that. We'll see how it pans out. Not the biggest fan of it, just because it's kind of limits the people that can fight the Gods Knights for this conflict, at least. For the future, I mean, we'll see how that comes into play, but at least for this conflict, it seems like it'll just be limited to the Conqueror's hockey users, right? Or at least the ones that have it right now. But yeah, that we had that, and then we had what else? Oh yeah, Loki's devil fruit, completely. And also Ragnir is a squirrel, right? Ratatosker. Right now I'm just kind of right now I'm banking on the fact that it's probably going to be a hammer that ate a squirrel fruit, right? Because I know there's been some debate about that, whether the hammer ate the squirrel fruit or whether the squirrel ate the hammer fruit, but realistically, this hammer's probably been around for like centuries, and I don't think a squirrel is going to be able to live that long. I mean, unless it's like an Elbathian squirrel, but we're not really sure. But I think because of the amount of time it's lived for, I think it makes more sense if it was a hammer originally, instead of a squirrel originally. So yeah, that's kind of my guess there. And yeah, we had Loki's Delifer, which Oda, made sure we did not see that clearly. There's been a lot of theories about that, about, is it the Nidhogg? Is it the Fenrir, right? I'm leaning toward the Nidhogg, based on what we've seen, rather than Fenrir, but, we'll see how that pans out. So we got that, and then great. The end of the chapter is easily the best part of it, right? That Loki's conversation with Harold, and Harold, I love their kind of back and forth with each other, because Loki is essentially saying, I really care about you, man, but like in like the most aggressive way possible, and like you're like, I can't believe you're making your own son do this, screw you, right? So it's like, it sounds mean, but like deep down, like if you translate it in a way, he's really saying like, I really care about you, right? So to have that contrast, especially at the end, with Harold's final words, right, with Loki's like, I'll never forgive you for this, and say, I love you too, right? It's almost like if you translate Loki's words, he's really saying I love you, but like he's not, right? Like what he's actually speaking. So to have Harold reply with I love you too, it's like, I don't know, it's a really interesting, cool, like very sweet back and forth between the both of them. And that final panel, double page spread, was great. So yeah, great stuff last chapter. So yeah, for this chapter, predictions. It can go a lot of ways, honestly. I'll try to lay out the possibilities, at least the possibilities in my head right now. So, first possibility. This chapter could immediately start by going back to the present. That's the first possibility. Just immediately cut to the present. Loki's like, okay, so that's what happened 14 years ago. And then we get to see, Luffy, everyone, like, that's possibility number one. and we skip a lot of the, what Loki was doing 8 years ago, right? Or for the last, or no, for the 8 years after, 14 years ago rather, right? Because he was in prison for the last 6 years, but there's an 8 year gap when he was out at sea, just out there, right? Presumably when he got his bounty and stuff. When he met Lola, right? The Lola stuff, if you calculate it out, it had to have happened in that time frame. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's first possibility number one. It could just straight up cut to the present and we skip that. Possibility number two, this chapter could just completely still be in flashback mode and we get an explanation of what happened 8 years or in those 8 years, and maybe that's what the whole chapter is about. And maybe at the end of this chapter, Oda makes it clear that the flashback's over, right? But we get this full chapter of still one more bit of flashback of those, in the 8 years, right? Or possibly it could just be this full chapter and a little bit of next chapter, right? Something like that. So that's possibility number two, right? So Oda kind of just, moves along, right? It doesn't hard cut to the present. Number three, it could be a mix, right? So this chapter, half of it could be dedicated to, maybe Oda does dedicate to like almost like a speed run of what was happening in those 8 years, and then the latter half of the chapter, or the last third, will be going back to the present. So there's a lot of things, or Oda can like skip it. If Oda does skip the 8 year gap like completely, or maybe he even speed runs it, or like the narrator kind of just gives a bunch of highlights, I think I'll be confident that Oda is gonna address that probably at the end of the arc, right? Because here's the thing, right? If Oda doesn't show it, I think there's a reason why Oda wouldn't show what happened in those 8 years. It's because Loki already had his devil fruit at that point, and he was not chained up, right? So I think that's the crux of it. I think if we don't see it, if we don't see what happened 8 years ago, I think that means that Loki uses devil fruit, especially if you got in an encounter with Shanks. So I don't think Oda wants to, Oda could of course, do tricks and weird stuff with visuals to, just like last chapter, to kind of not show Loki, but I don't think he wants to do that. I don't think Oda wants to do that, right? He did it in this flashback because he had to, but I don't think he wants to do it again. So I think maybe he's gonna save that for after, because right now this flashback kind of tells us everything we need to know. I don't think those 8 year gap tells us isn't super necessary for the Loki we know today. So that could just be safe for the end of the arc, similar to how we kind of got a Brook flashback at the end of a Thriller Bark, similar to how, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another example. Whatever. Right, but just end of arc stuff, right? Because, the bulk of the flashback is over, right? But that little kind of epilogue, kind of treating it like as an epilogue, right? Almost. So, yeah. But if Oda does go ahead and show it, he's definitely not going to show the devil fruit, right? I don't know if he'll make Loki not use it, or, depends. Did Shanks and Loki even fight? Like, actually fight? Or, like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of possibilities. I'll stop rambling for now. But yeah, that'll just be my predictions. I won't go any longer. That was it. Just laying out the possibilities. Very excited though. If we do go back to the present, oh shit, like, also, okay, well, one more thing. If we do go back to the present, I have a very good feeling that Oda will, like, bring us back with a bang, because he knows we've been gone for like months and months and months. And like, in story, there's kind of a time gap between, when Loki started telling the story and when, he stopped telling the story. So I'm wondering, like, if they go back up to the Sun Realm, like, I wonder if Oda's gonna like drop something happen, right? I'm wondering if they're just gonna go up to the Sun Realm and nothing really changed, right? It's just, Imu's still there, everyone's still there, right? They were just waiting, or something happened, and that, is Oda's way of like reeling the readers back in, like, no, this is important, right? This is the present. Like, let me get you guys back invested into this by like showing something that kind of happened off screen, and then like Luffy's gonna be like, what the fuck, or something like that. I don't know, but yeah. That's just extra thing right there. In terms of spoilers, I don't think I know spoilers. I saw this like weird thumbnail. It was like this, almost looked like an AI thumbnail with like, the video had like almost no views, and it was like chapter 1171 on the title, but it came out like on Monday or like on Sunday. So I don't even know if the full spoilers were out then, or like I think gifs at most, right? I don't know. And it showed Shanks in the thumbnail, which again that leads me of that if it's true, then maybe we do see Shanks Loki confrontation like 8 year in that 8 year like little thing. So the flashback does continue. I don't know. That's pretty much all I know. Yeah, I mean that's in terms of spoilers, right? But again, I don't even know if that was a spoiler. Probably not. Yeah, but other than that, I have really no idea what's going on with the chapter. It's been a while too, so like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But that's that. And as always, an L and a rouge, please, Oda. Okay, let's read the chapter. I've not seen the title or anything. Oh, let's guess the reader request. I don't know. Crocodile. Fuck it. I'll just guess crocodile. I've not seen the title. Let's read the title. One Piece chapter 1171, Ragnir. Okay. Okay. That's okay. That I think that tells me that we're gonna. Well, okay. So, I mean, that tells us obviously Ragnir is going to be relevant. But for one, I mean, for two, I think that that means we stay in the flashback, right? Because, Ragnir is when, Loki got Ragnir in the flashback. So I feel like learning more about him would be in the flashback unless they cut back to the present. But like they're in an urgent, like they're pretty urgent. I don't think Hyruden and company are going to explain, all right, by the way, Ragnir is this. I think that would be explained in a flashback, right? At least not right now. So maybe, I guess, still flashback mode. Again, it could be a half and half thing, but interesting. Ragnir. So we're probably gonna find out what it actually is. Again, I'm banking on it being a hammer eating a squirrel fruit. But it's a weird, yeah, interesting too, because the lightning. There's a lightning aspect. How the lightning ability that Ragnir has is also kind of an anomaly. Like, let's say it is a hammer with a squirrel fruit. Where does the lightning come from? Is it a mythical squirrel fruit, Ratatoskr, and Ratatoskr was just given the abilities of lightning? I don't think he has that in Norse mythology. I think that would be an Oda creation. But if the mythical zone has the ability of lightning, then that would explain why the hammer could summon lightning. Or maybe the lightning comes from Loki's devil fruit, right? And it's him. If it's a mythical zone, it's him using the mythical zone ability still in without transforming, right? We've seen Marco do that on Sphinx Island when he was kind of healing the people with his flames, the Phoenix flames on Sphinx Island. We saw that he can literally summon the flames. He doesn't have to transform to full thing. He can do that just in his base form. So if and we also saw people were talking about the Nidhogg. If it's the Nidhogg in what was it, the Killing M's nightmare creature, the Nidhogg has a lightning ability, right? It's a lightning dragon. So if it really is that, then that would be in Loki's arsenal, and maybe that's what's causing the lightning. And maybe it's not even the hammer or the squirrel. Lots of possibilities. Hopefully they get addressed here, but yeah. 1171. Let's see the cover page. I guess crocodile. It's Zoro. Okay. Come on, I'll just stick to the heroes next time. Cover request by Reverse Kitten and a cat putting cat ears on Zoro. Okay, so I got Zoro in the mirror right here with, I think Enma, and just cat putting on cat ears on Zoro. I think this is in the sunny, presumably, somewhere in the sunny. But yeah, I don't know which. Oh yeah, shirt says Zen. I was wondering what it said, but yeah, cool little cover page for Zoro. So. Let's move on. Oda note: Mrs. Green Apple's Babel no To Tower of Babel was a wonderful show. I was deeply moved by the way the entire venue was used to represent the story. Okay, so Oda maybe watched a play or something. Cool. Let's move on, right? Let's get into the chapter. Very excited. Okay, oh wait, okay, so I think we're still in flashback mode. Okay, the wake of the fierce battle at Aris Castle. Okay, let's see. We have Gaban over here starting us off. If Harald left the castle in that state, he would have brought great calamity to the world. Okay, very makes sense with the powers he had and the evilness in his heart. But okay. Next panel. I had a taste of that hopeless future during the fight. No matter how badly we wounded him, his body kept repairing itself. True. We see kind of the ruined. Now, yeah, we got a little kind of wide shot of one of the rooms in the castle, and it's like it starts to look, now it kind of looks like the ruined castle we know today, right? Except not as decrepit and like old and fucked up, because like obviously 14 years passed by and they didn't clean it up at all, so this is just fresh, right? Fresh out of its like destruction and all the rubble and stuff. But yeah, I had a taste of that hopeless future during the fight. No matter how bad we wounded him, his body kept repairing itself. Okay, so Gabon says that. Next panel. It's shocking to think something actually stopped him. It's interesting from Gabon. He says, no matter how badly we wounded him, his body kept repairing itself. But we know he said Conqueror's coding is the weakness, and you just kind of have to keep hitting them. But here it's like, and he's right, like when he made that explanation, it was to explain how they can damage them. But I guess it wasn't an explanation to stop Harold from repairing himself. Because right here he's shocked that, something actually stopped him. Loki, right? Loki he wasn't regenerating. So again, there's still nuance with this. Like, does Gabon even know the full thing? Like, I don't know. There's still questions with the weakness of the Knights of God and stuff. But next panel, next page, I think. Did you know the sacred treasure would be that powerful? Jarl says, okay, so we got Shanks and I don't know where Loki is. Oh, I'm assuming Loki like left instantly, probably. But I think, do we know that if he left instantly? Maybe. But we got Shanks and Gabon right there. They're kind of just walking. Jarl's up again. So yeah, did you know the sacred treasure would be that powerful, Jarl? So I think it's referring to the devil fruit. No, I actually knew nothing about it. All I know is I get chills down my spine when I imagine what would have happened if Loki hadn't been here today. Yeah, so I guess Jarl doesn't know anything about it, but assuming the devil fruit, right? Or Ragnir. Actually, they're probably talking about Ragnir. Okay, maybe they're talking about It could be the devil fruit, but it could be Ragnir. I mean, the chapter's called Ragnir, so either way, Jarl doesn't know. But yeah, chills down his spine. Next panel, we got Shanks thinking to himself. A little flashback with Harold. I'm assuming, right outside Mariswa or something. When I join the Gods Knights, it'll be a new dawn for Elbaf, says Harold to Shanks. And then we got Garling over here. Okay. If you have any wish, simply name it, and it will be within your reach. You've truly endured a miserable, squalid life until now, my poor child. Oh, I think this is Garling talking to Shanks, right? Okay, you've truly endured a miserable, squalid life until now, my poor child. Okay. So, next panel. Forget your former life on the surface. The commoners down there don't even count as people. Okay, so I think Shanks, with these flashbacks, he's like thinking, because he first thinks of Harold saying, when I joined the Gods Knights, and then he's like, and then Garling's like, forget about the past, the commoners out there don't even count as people. And then as Shanks, we see right here, Shanks is touching the arm that has the mark. So just all this kind of, thinking about it. He's thinking about it right now, and it's all kind of coming together as like one kind of feeling. But he, touches his arm with the mark, and Gabon says, it's like, is he in pain or what the hell? Okay, Gabon says Shanks, and Shanks' face is kind of in pain, it seems like. And then he's like, hey, Shanks, stop it. I think Shanks says stop it. But like Shanks is like, I don't know what's happening. I don't think Emu can control him, because again, he just has the shallow level, right? And that the only threat to that is that if he's close to Emu, right? If he's close to Emu, then he can be controlled by Harold, or not Harold, but controlled by Emu, just like Harold. But or not controlled, but like his mind, changes. But he's not anywhere near Breezewall, so I don't know. But yeah, so let's see what happens here. That's a bad habit. You shouldn't resent the circumstances of your birth. Why did Harold have to die, says Shanks. He was such a poor soul. He was such a pure soul. He was such a pure soul. If only I had been faster. This isn't your fault, says Gabon. Listen, Shanks, you are here for a reason. Everyone's life has some meaning to it. You just gotta hold on. So Shanks I think Shanks is just feeling just immense regret, right? That's why he's feeling his mark and just everything. Oh, big Oh, big panel right here. Okay, this is a double page spread in general, right? Um, is this what happens when you love your country too much? Says Loki, and then oh my god, shit. Yeah, this is we got Harald. Whoa, wait, what the fuck? Okay, let's read. Okay, is this what happens when you love your country too much? Says that's a very good line right there from Loki. Very interesting summation of Harald's life. This sucks, and as Loki tears, running down his face, is kind of blocking his eyes, even though he already has bandages. Um, but yeah, we see the fire in the background, and we see Harald's body. So from the looks of it, yeah. So Loki took off his kind of cape and he covered Harald's body with it. We only see him from the waist down, so we see his legs and stuff, kind of there. So I don't know if Loki blew his upper half off or something, or there's just a lot of blood and it looks really bad. So or he's broken into pieces or something. I mean, there's blood everywhere, so he clearly is dead. But okay, yeah. So yeah, great. I like this kind of aftermath for this. So switching perspectives, it seems like. Oh, Marishwa. Okay. Oh, we got emu reaction, right? Harald's blunder, right? I'm guessing this is. Yeah, this is Harald's blunder, right? What happened with Loki and how he was, bested in combat. So yeah. So we got Emu saying he was a rare ancient giant, enhanced with even more power and an undying body. And then another Emu panel. Add that to the books, right? Another Emu panel right here. Those traits made him a true monster, and yet he was still killed. Who could have? Is something unforeseen lurking on Elbafs? Oh, so Emu has no idea about Loki and everything. I mean, this is a very, understandable reaction from Emu, right? He's literally an ancient giant. Power-wise, right, he clashed with rocks. But then, on top of that, he was given an undying body, right? Regeneration, and he was given even more power. We were told that if you have the mark for the Gods Knights, that you even get kind of a power boost. So the fact that he's still lost is like, yeah, and from Emu's perspective, it would be crazy. So Emu's kind of huffing as well. Okay, next panel. Let's see. We should have, I think some of the Gorosei are talking. I'm assuming Mars says that's kind of what it seems like it's pointing to, the speech bubble. We should have the Abyss pentagram carved by Harald inspected. Okay, that shall not be necessary, says Emu. It would only result in the death of another knight. Every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. Interesting. Ooh. Every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. So there's some interest. So like, okay, because obviously Emu's like, okay, Harald got killed. What the hell just happened? And then they're like, we should go to the Abyss Pentagram. We should inspect it. It's like, nope. I'm not risking a god. Like, if we send a God's Knight there, whatever killed Harald, because again, Emu has no idea. Like, so Emu's kind of being as careful as possible. Emu has no idea what killed Harald. So he's like, if we send the God's Knight over there, like, a God's Knight could be killed. If Harald got killed, oh, for sure, a God's Knight. If I send just a random ass God's Knight over there to inspect it, whatever killed Harald, if they killed Harald, they are killing the God's Knight, because the God's Knight is not as strong as Harald. So Emu's like, no, and then again, a price to be paid. What is that? What does that mean? If multiple God's Knights die, if too many, does Emu, like, what is it? I don't know. Definitely weird stuff. That's interesting. That Emu even can like be affected or something. Like the Emu, like just because a God's Knight dies, like Emu can be negatively impacted by that. Other than just losing, someone, right, on his kind of army. We get the Gorosei right there looking up at Emu. Next panel, next page rather, we got Valkyrie saying, or not Valkyrie, we just got Valkyrie and Saturn's reactions right now, and Emu continues. He had no qualms about lowering his head to appease humans. All he ever sought was communion with other nations and peoples. Harald was a total aberration. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Just very unique figure in the One Piece world, and very uniquely, because of that, he made it easy for Emu to Emu didn't even have to come to him. He came to Emu, right? Even though he didn't know who Emu was, right? Unintentionally, but that's what Harald did. Harald was a total aberration, and yet he was born with the blood of those savage, battle-loving giants. Yeah, oh my god, Harald's such a good character, man. Oh my gosh, like, I mean, my thoughts will solidify as the arc continues, and months and years afterwards. But Yeah, Harald's such a good character for this flashback for this arc. So yeah, and yet he was born with the blood of those savage, battle-loving giants, and we had it, and we admitted him, and had okay. Let me read. Let me. I cannot read. I'm a One Piece fan. I can't read. Had we admitted him into the government flippantly, his very presence might have destroyed it within. Okay, so that's kind of explaining why they didn't just immediately. Because again, yeah, they didn't know. I guess they didn't know for sure 100%. Like, are you that serious? Because like Harald, because it would be, yeah, it makes sense to be skeptical if he's this battle, if he's literally born of with the blood of the savage battle loving giants, not even just the giants, an ancient giant. He has ancient giant blood too, so it's like an ancient giant, the king of the ancient of Elbaf, an ancient giant. On top of that, wants to work with us. Like, yo, if we just admit you just like flippantly, like, whoa, right? It's not until Harald like broke off his horns, literally told Emu to his face, not to his face. You get what I mean, though. Like I will let myself become a slave for you. Like it wasn't until then, like he was like, okay, I'm confident that bringing you in is not going to be a bad idea anymore. But then everything backfired. So next panel. Elbaf should have never known a king of his disposition. Forging a covenant with a cooperative ancient giant like him was an unprecedented opportunity. This disappointing outcome proves that history does not lie. We were always going to be incompatible. Ooh. Interesting. That's an interesting view that Emu has. This disappointing outcome proves that history does not lie. We were always going to be incompatible. So Emu's like, yeah, we were. So the fact that this failed, that means it was never meant to be, right? It was that type of mindset from Emu. Interesting. Okay. Okay, Emu says that. We get more reactions from, more shots of the Gorosei's faces. Okay. Next panel. Never forgets. Elbaf is of the D. Okay, just Emu says that. I'm assuming this refers to maybe Elbaf being allied with, the D, right? Because obviously the D, enemies of the gods, right? Clearly, probably Joy Boy's faction, Joy Boy's crew, possibly, I don't know. But never forget, Elbaf is of the D. And that comes off of Emu just saying we were always going to be incompatible. So clearly there's some knowledge Emu had, like Elbaf is of the D. So clearly, also with that knowledge in his head, on top of Harald being an ancient giant and trying to cooperate with the world government, it's like, I don't think we're going to be compatible, right? It's not until Harald like really went like extreme where Emu's like, maybe? And then it just failed. And now he's like, nope, it was never meant to be. Nope. No, that just, yeah, it proves it was never meant to be. Never forget, Elbaf is of the D. So clearly, yeah, this is Emu bringing up another piece of evidence of why he was skeptical. Which, yeah, I guess Elbaf is, an ally is of the D, right? But the only giant, and interestingly enough, the only giant we know that is of the D is, or has the D in their name is Saul, who's not even from Elbaf. But presumably he has blood, ancestors from Elbaf, right? Okay. Switching perspectives, next panel. Back to Elbaf. I'm assuming back to Elbaf, right? Loki. After this, the country will be in disarray. I think Jarl's talking to him. And then Loki says, I'm heading out to sea, old-timer. I'll take the surviving soldiers with me. Ooh, okay. Jarl says, what about Harald's final request? Yeah, let's see. Because that literally is dying wish. It literally is dying wish. Tell the people of Elbaf what happened here, says Harald, right, in the little flashback. There's no way I can tell them the truth, says Loki. Just drop it, all of you. So we got Gaban, Shanks, bunch of surviving guards, Jarl, and Loki. Loki's kind of sitting on the steps, just kind of hunching downwards. There's no way. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I expected for Loki, in terms of like his justification. Don't speak a word of what happened here. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised, right? I mean, because we have, Jarl, everyone's like, did Jarl get memory loss, blah, 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 like, but always, I mean, in my head, I think Occam's razor was just, Loki told him not to say anything, right? And there's no memory loss, there's no, like, it's just, they agreed not to say anything, including Gaban, right? And that could explain why Gaban, when he said before this flashback, is like, we heard something in the castle to Hyrule. He said to Hyrule, and we heard something in the castle, but we weren't really sure what it was, but like maybe we didn't have the full story. Now it seems like Gabon was kind of half lying, right? Because he didn't want to immediately say outright that he was there and he saw everything, but at the same time, he wanted Loki to tell the story, so I kind of told this like half truth just to like nudge Hyrule like in this position where like, fine, we'll hear Loki, out, right? But clearly Gabon knew everything, right? And clearly this is probably why he kind of did that half lie. Don't speak a word of what happened here today, says Loki. Nice big panel of him. Nice. Okay. Next panel. Jarl says, if we say nothing, who do you think they'll blame for all this? It will be the same as always, says Loki. Say I were to become king. Can you see me actually honoring father's ideals? I can only tackle this in my own way, right? Yeah, we can only tackle somebody else. So yeah, so he's like, I would be, it'll be the same as always. I'm always blamed for this. This isn't anything new, right? It's not like I'm going from like a celebrated hero to like a traitor to the country. Like no one likes me, bro. So like, I'm gonna do this I like that. I'm gonna do this in my own way, right? I'm wondering to see how that comes to fruition in the present. Next panel. With this ability, I'll settle the regrets of the old man and his soldiers. Okay. I'll settle the regrets of his old man. What does that mean? Is Loki saying I'm going to go out at sea, I'm going to use my devil fruit, I'm going to pull up to Marie-Joie, and I'm going to kill everyone? I don't know. And that's why Shanks stopped him. But again, he was out at sea for 8 years. What was he doing for 8 years? Okay, next panel, double page spread. Zoom in. Don't be stupid, Loki. The world government is a big organization. It won't be as easy as you think. Yes, clearly, Jarl knows what he's talking about. As Loki leaves, he's got Ragnir, and he's taking a bunch of guards with him as he leaves the castle. Shanks and Gabon don't say anything. They're kind of very serious faces, ellipses. Okay, ellipses. Okay. Next panel. Something big happened. Our castle was attacked. Your Highness. So I think this is, I guess, people, like, reacting to like people actually going into the castle and finding out what happened, right? The rest of Elbaf. Then we get another shot of Elbaf, like little time jump from the incident to now everything kind of seems empty. Oh shit! Oh, we're back. I think we're back at the president. Yeah. Oh shit. Oh my god. Have we been in black panels this whole time, dude? Oh my god. White panels is crazy. Okay. Half and half, maybe? Okay. After that, I set out to sea, says Loki. Is he going to explain that? Again, if we don't see anything of what Loki did out at sea, I'm pretty confident that Oda will show it at the end of the arc, right? As like a one-chapter thing. After that, I set out to sea. Hyrule, and by the time you guys returned to the island, everyone had already dubbed me Loki the Patricide, and I made no effort to correct that narrative. But, oh shit. Oh, we're back, baby. Let's go. We're back. Okay, Loki says, but it's not like I was crazy enough to brag about killing him either. I just didn't want everything he stood for to be dismissed because of how things turned out. With all that in mind, do you really think I should have told the people everything? Says Loki. Oh, so he's asking Hyrule this, and Hyrule get a shot at him. Luffy! We see Luffy's face! Luffy, bro. Luffy's been gone for months. He's been gone for months. Holy shit. It's kind of surreal seeing Luffy's face. Yeah, we get Hyruden's face though first, and he's very serious, ellipses. He's telling the truth, Hyrule, says Gabon. And Luffy, very serious face as well. Get it already? I really didn't want to relive all this crap, says Loki. Let's see what Hyrule says. Says Hyrule saying, Elder Jarl, always opposed to your execution. I can understand why you chose to keep this secret. Father choosing death in the face of the government's manipulation. The world government has been our enemy all this time. I wonder what they did to Father. What they do to Father. I think the translation meant what they did to Father, but whatever. Indeed, and now they've sent more knights to Elbaf, some with deep ties to Harold. Who's speaking? I think, Gabon speaking, I think. Even Loki doesn't know all the details about Harold's dealings in the Holy Land. Yeah, Shanks knows that. Next panel. I can fill you in if you want, says Gabon, I think. Oh, because Shanks told Gabon kind of about Holy Land stuff, and we get a bunch of shots of the new giant warrior pirates, and Hyrule says, that won't be necessary for now, Yasan. We need no further reason to protect our country. Yeah, I mean, we don't have time for more exposition. We got to get up there, guys. Oh, we got Zoro and Sanji. Oh my god, Zoro and Sanji. Man, bro, you guys were gone for months. It's great to see them, right? We got Zoro and Sanji smoking too. Okay. Next panel. Oh, the final cuff. Loki is freed. Technically, because technically Loki was freed except for one cuff. Is gone. Is gone. Hiruden continues. Loki, it seems we both feel the same way about father. I'm sorry for everything. And then Loki ellipses. For the sake of Elbaf, let's make a stand together. Is he reaching out a hand to Loki or something? Loki kind of looks at his own hand. He's finally freed, right? But I think the shackle's on his leg, I think. Luffy saying, whoa, that's great, Loki, you can fight now, right? Luffy was saying he wants to see Loki fight. I think you mentioned that before the flashback. Rawr! Okay, what the fuck is this? Just random creature in the underworld? And Loki says, and then Luffy question mark as well. Something fell down? Is this the thing? Is this the... Oh, no, this is a nightmare creature. Okay. I was like, what the fuck is this? Okay, so a nightmare creature has fallen from the side. Like, you can tell because of kind of the art style. Ooh, is it the Loki one? It kind of looks like it has legs and it has, like, a boot. Too. It has boots. It's wearing boots, so, like, is it the Loki one, maybe? I don't know. Oh, no, it's not. It's just the... I forgot what this one was called specifically, but... It was the skeleton, right? The skeleton monster one. The Brook one. But, rawr, whoa! That's one of the monsters that was rampaging up there. They've got a ton of creatures running wild, says Chopper. Chopper's here too, bro. Chopper! What the fuck, man? Okay. They've got a ton of creatures running wild. And then, we got this creature right here. Nice big panel to show the size of this thing. Jesus, it's so big. Hiruden says, where did they go? Oh, we're gonna see Loki's fruit right now? Yo, this could be Oda's way of, like, showing Loki's fruit. Where did they come from? Isn't that a Draugr? I never thought those were real. Yeah, Draugr, okay. This'll be a good warm-up, says Loki. Go on ahead, I'll just jump up. What in the world is that, says Luffy. What's going on up there, says Hiruden as he's trying to get to the lift, right? The new giant warrior pirates are already on there. Wait, I just realized. Zoro Sanji. Did they not go up? Wait, no, because the new giant... did Zoro Sanji not go up? I don't think they even went up. Because I just realized, because we saw Zoro Sanji, and I'm like, okay, Zoro Sanji, but, like, didn't they go up? Didn't they say they were going up as well as the new giant warrior pirates? I don't think the new giant warrior pirates were here. I think the only people here were Hiruden, Chopper, Gaban, and Luffy. And everyone else went up. They are still on there. I mean, granted, they're already going up as of now, but Hiruden's trying to get up there as they're leaving. Hurry it up, Hiruden. Hey, Loki. We admit we prejudged you when we called you a kin-slaying piece of crap. As they scream to him, and then as they're going upwards. So, what the fuck? I guess Luffy and Loki are... Okay, so everyone's gone, basically, except Luffy, Gaban, Loki, Chopper, and... Because I'm assuming Zoro Sanji are there on the lift as well. Next panel, we're really sorry. So, yeah, they're very sorry, right? They clearly heard the story and all that. So, we got... Is it just them? Oh, yeah, Zoro Sanji are on there. Okay, now they're leaving. I thought they were already up there, man. What the hell? But this doesn't undo all your other things you've done, says Hiruden. Yeah, I mean, we know Loki kind of bullied Hiruden and kind of beat the shit out of him as kids, right? Shut up and go already. I don't need to hear you guys yap, says Loki. This is the best. I can move. It's so freeing. She, says Luffy, laughing. Oh my god, what is going to happen? Let's see. We're going to see. I mean, I'm assuming this is why the chapter's called Ragnir. Chopper, rawr, he's kind of reacting to, the Draugr and Gaban, kind of exclamation point. Hey, Doc, I know you want to take care of me here, but I'm worried about my son up there. Yeah, you make a good point, says Chopper. Okay, so Chopper, I guess, probably is also going to go up. Be careful, Sanji. Oh, what the fuck? Did Sanji literally pick up Gaban? I thought he was on the lift. Did he just leave the lift and then, what the fuck? Okay. Interesting. So, we see Sanji carrying Gaban. Chopper's on Sanji's back. They're, skywalking. And be careful, Sanji, says Chopper. I've got it. Weren't you two gonna stay behind? Says Sanji, I think. saying that to Chopper and Gaban. Loki's saying, "What are you still doing here?" He says to Luffy rather. She. I'm dying to see you fight. Yeah, that's what Luffy said. All right, let's show him your power. Oh, is it Ragnir? Squeak! Oh shit! We got Draugr over here. Loki's about to slam. Oh, Niflheim. Oh, okay. Niflheim is one of the realms in Norse mythology, right? The big Yggdrasil, right? Niflheim. That's one of the attacks, and he just jumps up in the air and preps Ragnir and just smashes into. Oh, he freezes him. Oh, Niflheim. Is Niflheim like kind of a frozen realm almost? I don't know. I think so, right? Is that where the kind of frozen realm maybe? I don't know. But he he freezes him. Interesting, because we see kind of snow around, or what seems like snow around Ragnir, and he hits him and it freezes him almost, but he's also cracks him at the same time. Is it not just lightning? What the hell? I don't know. A chilling attack, yes, so it is. Yeah, it's literally he froze him. Yeah, it wasn't lightning this time. Interesting. Whoa, okay. We got Luffy, mouth wide open. He's like, what? And he's like, what? And then, One Piece chapter 1171. And break next week. Okay. There's an Oda break next week because, he might be like, well, why do we have so many breaks? Well, we haven't had an Oda break, specifically an Oda break, for the last 3 chapters, including this one. So, we've had Shonen Jump breaks, but not Oda breaks. So, naturally, we're going to have an Oda break at some point, right? Because those are 2 different things. Just because the Shonen Jump gets a break, it's not like, oh, that counts as the Oda break. No, Oda breaks are its own thing. So we haven't had one for 3 weeks. Therefore, Oda gets an Oda break. So that's why there's a break next week. But we're back. We're back in the present, right? And Ragnir can freeze people, I guess. Okay, but interesting. Okay, so we skipped the parts about the 8 years out at sea. Again, I don't know. I feel confident that Oda's going to address it at the end of the arc. It could be less than a chapter. It could be 80% of a chapter. It doesn't even have to be that long, right? To be honest. I think we're guaranteed it because here's the thing. The most important, one thing we do know what happened 8 years ago is Shanks encountered Loki. And literally, we don't see the events where Loki was encountered by Shanks, or they both encountered each other, and then Shanks chained him up. Or why? That's still a very important part of Loki's life, and we're skipping it. So, again, I'm very confident we're just going to get kind of a look at 8 years ago, at the end of the arc, right? After we deal with this. So, yeah. So I'm very confident in that. I do, yeah. I like this chapter. I like the emu stuff and, kind of Shanks feeling guilty and kind of all the aftermath. Loki, I like, what Loki says, now we finally know, even though kind of makes sense. Don't speak a word. Then we move back to the present. Everyone's talking. And then we're finally going back up. Loki's showing some of his powers. Hopefully we get that Devil Fruit reveal. Cool. Nice chapter. So very cool. We're back. The flashback's over. Yeah, the flashback is over. I think, let me do the math. 1171 minus 1152, I think that's when it ended. 19 chapters. This flashback lasted 19 chapters. Holy shit. I think, because 1152 is when it began. Holy crap, man. That is insane. 19, that's the longest flashback in all of One Piece. But we're back. We're back, and we're in the present, baby. Let's see. 2026? What you cooking, Oda? But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, right? So yeah, goodbye.